we're going to take a look at Mike Oldfield, his albums on the Virgin label from 1973 to 1991. Mike was with Virgin from 73 to 1991. Then he signed with Warner Brothers from 1992 to 2003. Then he signed with Mercury, Universal, which he is still with as far as I know. We're going to kick off with Tubular Bells from 1973. This is the album that started it all for Mike and for Richard Branson's brand new Virgin label. This is the deluxe edition, as you can see. This was released in 2009. This one has a 2009 stereo mix by Mike. Unsure why he did that. Maybe he wasn't happy with the original mix. Most CD releases since then, even on the single disc edition, are the 2009 remixes, including the vinyl. But there is a double vinyl edition that has the original 1973 mix as well. I think it's the Abbey Road one. Disc 2 here does give you the original 1973 album mix, and there's a few extras as well. Mike Oldfield's single, The Sailor's Hornpipe with Viv Stanchel. That's the one when he's marching around the manor. On the DVD you've got the 2009 5.1 surround sound by Mike. A few extras in there. So Tubular Bells is, you know, it is a masterpiece, there's no way around that. Superb album. There's just lots of sleeve notes and stuff here, the story of the whole thing. So yeah, this is an essential Mike Oldfield album. There's no way around that. This is the 25th anniversary edition. It was remastered. It's pretty good. I was listening to it again the other day. It was released in '98, and it comes in a nice hard shell booklet. I've seen this for €2 even on the internet. The disc is just gold, nothing to write home about. It does kind of get scratched as you push it in and out here. There's an interview again as well. Simon Hayworth, Tom Newman. So yeah. This is a good one. I really like it, and like I said, it's just remastered and it sounds great. Okay, this is the SACD version. I bought this back in 2001 when it came out. It's not that common. It has the same artwork that the 2000 reissues had. I had some of those. I didn't really like them. I hated the artwork. I hated the rectangle on the discs, all different colours. It was just ridiculous. The borders around the booklets were horrible. So this one has got two versions. It's a dual disc. You've got the 1973 mix, but you also have the 1976 mix that came out on the boxed box set, which had Tubular Bells, HERGEST Ridge and Amadeon mixed in 4.1, I suppose you can call it. They were quadraphonic, so they're different. So there you go. And there's a little bit of spiel here. See, that's the bordering I was telling you about on the 2000 editions. It's not too bad on this. You know, if they're going to remaster stuff, they should do it right. Sometimes they just make a pig's ear out of it. But this is nice to have, and yeah, it's really cool. These are quite expensive now, you know, but it's a nice thing to have. This is the original CD version. These have pretty shoddy artwork. This one is probably from the early 90s, judging by the barcode on it. But originally, These came out, I think, around 86. The Virgin originals, and usually they have got black, red, and whatever. There's some blue face ones as well. This isn't too bad. That's got some artwork in here, photos, like in the early 80s. That's not too bad. Pretty shoddy. Pretty shoddy. HERGEST Ridge. This is a new cover. When it was reissued in 2010, there's a new cover. That's the ridge down there. And this is great. It offers HERGEST Ridge Part 1 and 2 in the 2010 stereo mix by Mike. I wasn't too gone on that. And then you've got In Dulce Jubilo from Maureen. That's a different version than the one that came after it. And Spanish Tune. That's part 2 of HERGEST Ridge. It's part of the track. It's just an excerpt, really, turned into a little small tune, and it's previously unreleased. Next up is on this one is HERGEST Ridge Part 1 and 2, and they're the 1974 mixes. When I bought this on CD back in 91, I didn't realise it had the boxed mix, and I really liked it, and that was the one I got used to. When I heard this one, I was taken aback. The first half of it is much more jaunty, there's much more percussion. I was kind of, what? You know, there's a big difference in this one. Yeah, I like the boxed one. It's the one I'm used to. I thought I had the original on that CD, but it was actually boxed. So you've got HERGEST Ridge Part 1 and 2, previously unreleased, 1974 demo recordings. And then you have the 5.1 of Part 1 and 2. And they're Mike's mixes. So HERGEST Ridge is lovely. Nice album. Okay. The booklet has got a nice story in there. Very, very cool. This was the original cover. I always thought it was kind of hard to read the HERGEST Ridge there with the light yellow type. It's of its time. The new cover is nicer, without a doubt. So yeah, it's HERGEST Ridge. This is what it looked like when it came out in the mid 80s. Absolutely appalling use of clunky it's probably an early 90s pressing again, or a repress. Absolutely horrible. No style whatsoever. The original artwork, it's changed now obviously. This is pretty poor. That's all you're going to get. It says here 1984. So I think it was 84 that the CD started rolling out across Europe and stuff like that. This is a Dutch pressing probably in the early 90s. The CD, as far as I know, of HERGEST Ridge is the 1976 mix that you find on box. That's the way it has been, I think, since the mid 70s, even the vinyl and stuff like that. Next up is the Orchestral Tubular Bells. This technically isn't really a Mike Oldfield album. It doesn't actually say Mike Oldfield, the Orchestral Tubular Bells. It says composed by Mike Oldfield and arranged for orchestra by David Bedford, a collaborator of Mike's. Mike does play guitar on it though, and it's kind of novel value. It's something I wouldn't listen to that much at all, and yeah, it's just nice to have it. It does exist. There's also, I think, a version of HERGEST Ridge, but it never went to press, as far as I know. This is just Tubular Bells Part 1 and 2. This was released in early 1975, performed by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Recorded by the Manor Mobile, mixed at the Manor Studios, Oxfordshire. It eventually came out on CD in 1986. There's been a few versions of it. There's nothing in here to look at really. the thing about the early Virgin CDs, is that they were shocking with the information. In fact, I think Almadon has got nothing inside, and it's only blank black ink. Almadon, this was released in 1975. I think the first 3 albums are kind of a trilogy. Tubular Bells being the most melodic and detailed, HERGEST Ridge being more pastoral and symphonic, and Almadon being a little bit more earthy and Celtic, with African drums thrown in there as well. This is really nice. You get Almadon Part 1 and Part 2, and again 2010 stereo mixes by Mike, previously unreleased. Then In Dulce Jubilo, that's the Virgin single. Then you have First Excursion, Argiers, Portsmouth. Those 4 tracks also appeared on the Collaborations disc of Boxed. Disc 2, you have Almadon Part 1 and Part 2, and they are the original 1975 stereo mixes. And then there's Almadon Lost version, which is very interesting, kind of a demo. Then disc 3 is the 5.1, and there's a couple of videos on that as well. Portsmouth and Dulce Jubilo. So there, yeah. It's a great album. There's incredible guitar playing on this. I love the sound of his guitar. This is Throwham Slad, a house that he had in Bisley. I think the house belonged to the Cadbury's family, the chocolate people. Mike turned one of the barns into a studio. Fantastic property. It's up in the Cotswolds. It's the studio control room up there. Yeah. Must have had a lot of fun back then. Yeah. I think he deserved all the success because he's a very unique and brilliant musician. This is what the mid-80s CD would have looked like. Absolutely horrible. Poor faded picture, and then you've got this big horrible type. Back is just absolutely horrible. I think on this one, on Horseback, is actually divided into a separate track. And I put it in the machine. Yeah, again, this is an early 90s or a Dutch press. Nothing in the book. No information. It could be anything. You know? Yeah, that's pretty tasteless. Next up is Boxed. Boxed was originally released in 1976. It was Mike's first 3 albums, Tubular Bells, HERGEST Ridge and Almadon, remixed for quadraphonic sound, which is a type of a 4-speaker system. You need a decoder, and Bob's your uncle. You've got 4.0, I guess. The CD version was issued in 1989. It's a nice collector's item to have. The original box set was 4 LPs, but the CD has got 3 compact discs, starting off with Tubular Bells Part 1 and Part 2, the Rio Grande, Portsmouth, In Dulce Jubilo. Disc 2 is HERGEST Ridge Part 1, HERGEST Ridge Part 2, an extract from Star's End, Argiers, Speak, Though You Only Say Farewell. Disc 3 is Almadon Part 1, Part 2, The Fusion Games, First Excursion. All the extra tracks here were called collaborations in the original box set. They've tacked them onto the individual CDs here to save the production of a 4th CD, I guess. Collaborations itself was released on vinyl in 2016 as a standalone. So The remixes are different than the standard versions, especially HERGEST Ridge. When I bought HERGEST Ridge on CD in 1991, I didn't realise I was after buying the boxed edition, but Mike made sure that the boxed remix was on all subsequent versions. The original 1974 mix is on the deluxe edition, if you want to hear that. I prefer the boxed mix. It's the one I kind of grew very fond of over the years, not realising. Amadone is here as well. Yeah, this is a nice set. Certainly well worth tracking down. Says here, this CD set is in stereo. You see, I don't know, I've read that guys are saying that the discs here will work on quad. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I guess they're saying stereo so that they don't turn people off thinking that these discs only work in quad. So there's plenty of sleeve notes. Mike's studio in his house in Throwham, Slad, where he lived in the Cotswolds back in the day. Beautiful old house. So yeah. The extras aren't strictly all Mike compositions. Fishing Games is David Bedford. It was on the album The Odyssey, but Mike appears on that. Extract from Star's End, that's also Bedford. That was from Star's End. And the Rio Grande is from The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That has vocals by Queen's College London, classes 2 and 3. That's a great track. I really like that one. It's really, really cool. First Excursion is one of Mike's tracks, written as well with Bedford. Argiers, traditional Oldfield. Portsmouth, Oldfield, and then Dulcie Jubilee is R.L. Pearsall. That was a little thing by Mike. And then Speak Though You Only Say Farewell was written by Ray Morello and Horatio Nichols. Mike sings on this, and I think he was taking the mickey. There you go. In big type here it says all tracks from collaborations are included as follows. So I mean, you know, you can put it into your media player and you can just put it back the way it originally came, with the first 6 tracks being the first 3 albums, and then you can have the final 8 as collaborations. Or you can slice the salami up and make your own version of it. So yeah, that's it. It's boxed. This is only recently acquired by myself. Yeah, I never had it. I have the vinyl, but I just wanted a CD. Incantations. This was released in 1978. This is a departure from the first 3. Number 1, it's got 4 long compositions. There's chanting and singing on it. There's a nice reading of Hiawatha, the poem by Longfellow, sung here by Maddie Pryor over a type of a mellow drum beat. Here we have the 2011 remastered editions of the original 1978 stereo mix, supervised by Mike Oldfield. So you've got parts 1 to 4, and then there's a bonus track, Guilty, and that was a single released in 79. It has the motive from Incantations Part 1, the 9-part note. Then this 2 here is interesting. You've got Diana, and I think these are 2011 stereo mixes. He's kind of taken pieces out of it. Northumbrian, piano improvisation, Hiawatha, canon for 2 vibraphones. Then you also get the William Tell Overture by Puccini, you know, the theme to the Lone Ranger. Cuckoo Song, Pipe Tune, Recorder Rondo, Guilty, that's the 12-inch mix. It's just longer and it's got deeper bass on that. And then Diana Desiderata, I think they're mixes that Mike made himself. So disc 3 DVD is 5.1 surround sound, but that is only for Diana, Northumbrian, piano improvisation, Hiawatha, Canon for 2 vibraphones, Guilty. And then there's, where is it here? Visual content, the promo video, William Tell Overture from 1977. And then you have recorded live in April 79 at Wembley Conference Centre. That's Incantations, parts 1, 2, parts 3 and 4. And then the promo for Guilty. The Incantations here, the live part, was actually released on Exposed, which was the whole concert, and Tubular Bells part 1 and 2 was on that as well, as Guilty. So yeah, this is a good package, very good. It has a new cover on it, that wasn't on the original. That was the original album cover. The vinyl also has the new cover. Yeah, so I like this album. It's pretty good. I think it might be a little bit long, if anything, but it's some nice pieces on it. Music's quite mesmerizing. So there you go. It's another good one. Again, great guitar playing. Live, it's really good. The guitars are fantastic. The band are brilliant. So this is the 80s CD, what it would have looked like. This sounds actually quite good. The quality is quite good. Dynamics are good. They're there, you know. It's quite good. It's got the full length tracks as well. On some CDs, part 3 is edited down to 13 minutes or something like that. And this is the full shtick. But again, you know, it's quite poor. Information wise, you're not getting much. Again, that's probably early 90s European press. Next up is Exposed. This was Mike's very first live album, released in 1979. It was recorded on the European tour in the spring of 1979. Double disc. You have Incantations parts 1 and 2, Incantations parts 3 and 4. CD2 has Tubular Bells part 1, Tubular Bells part 2 and Guilty. This is actually quite hard to get at the moment. It doesn't pop up that often. I had this years ago. I think I bought it back in 1992, but I sold it like a fool. I had to buy it back again to complete my Oldfield discography on Virgin. This is pressed in Japan. This is hard to get. I had it on a wants list on Discogs, and it popped up last week and I jumped on it. You're not going to get it for under 20 euros. There's also a version from 2000, and that's the remastered version with the kind of square on the discs. Terrible artwork. That's even hard to get as well. But this hasn't been reissued since then, so it's sought after and expensive, but well worth it. Mike ends the 70s with Platinum. This is Mike's disco album. Platinum, originally released in November 79, and what you have here is a nice package with 2 discs, some bonus tracks as well. So the original album here, Platinum part 1 to 4, absolutely fantastic, one of my favourite things that Mike has done. Wood hinge, I've said it before, it's very mellow. I think that comes from the mid 70s. Into Wonderland, that is absolutely appalling. Sorry. Punkadiddle, that's a great track, and I Got Rhythm, a cover of the Gershwin track with Wendy Roberts on vocals. Also here we have Platinum Live Studio Session, that's nice and raw, and then we have North Star 2012 Mike Oldfield remix. Yeah, it's only okay, you know, not to write home about. And you also get the Blue Peter single on there as well. Disc 2, you've got recorded live at Wembley Arena, London, 28th of May 1980. So Platinum, Punkadiddle, I Got Rhythm, Polka, Incantations, Tubular Bells Part 2, Guilty, Tubular Bells Part 1, Finale, Blue Peter, Portsmouth, William Tell. They're all previously unreleased. So yeah, it's the inner sleeve photographs of the original album. A lot of guest musicians on this because it was recorded between New York and England. So there you go. This was kind of the start of Mike doing albums with shorter pieces. I mean, Platinum itself, the 4 parts could be one side, you know, they all segue into each other. But this cover here, Airborne, that is the US edition. It had an extra disc. It was only ever released on vinyl. Any CD copies out there will probably be a bootleg or something. And it had a live version of Tubular Bells from Brighton, 1979, with John Gorman naming out the instruments. Some people think that that's one of the Monty Python people, but I don't think it is. And you also get Incantations live in studio spliced together. It also has Platinum. On the Platinum disc, sorry, it has Guilty instead of Wood Hinge, which is nice and definitely a better cut. I don't know why Guilty wasn't on this album. It makes no sense. This is what the original CD would have looked like in the mid-80s. Absolutely horrific. Big gaudy old font. On the back here you've got Platinum parts 1 to 4. And then it says track 2 is Wood Hinge, but that's not true at all because that's actually track 5, so that's a mistake. Platinum is indexed from 1 to 4. And, again, this is a manufactured in Holland, and again, terrible artwork. Just really done cheaply to get it out there. Next up is QE2. This is from 1980. In looking back and in retrospect, the years haven't been too kind to it. To me, it's his first pretty weak album. Yeah, every time I listen to it now, I just get bored with it. I love the artwork. I love the QE2. I love the ship itself. But you've Taurus 1. The problem with that is it meanders a little bit in the middle and it's like he's kind of floundering around. Sheba isn't bad. Conflict, I think Phil Collins plays drums on that, I think, as well as Taurus 1. Then Arrival, that's a cover of the ABBA track. He's done covers on this, like Wonderful Land, that's another cover. The Shadows had that back in the 60s. Mirage, that's not bad, but it doesn't really go anywhere. QE2 itself isn't too bad. It's not too bad. There's horns on that and everything. And then you got Celt, pretty predictable stuff, and Molly, which is a very short track, just guitar. There's a live cut here from the 1980 European tour, Polka. And then you have got Wonderful Land, the single version, and Shiva, which is Sheba, but Mike sings over it and it's horrible. It sounds... Okay, I don't want to say any more because I think Mike's brilliant. This 2 here, you've just got Live from the European Adventure Tour, and it's got tracks from these albums and Tubular Bells thrown in Amadon and stuff like that, so you know, the usual. So here you get 2 beautiful discs with the light wrapped on it. Beautiful Life Boy. Yeah, I love the artwork for QE2. That's fantastic. Very simple. Red, blue, black. Here we go. This is a German reissue of it. I think it was 82 it came out. Different cover, and it's got German text on the back. Yeah, so nice as well. Very nice. So these reissues are fantastic, and they're definitely worth getting your hands on. I think the sound is good as well. They sound great. This is what it would have looked like back then in the late 80s. It's not too bad. It looks, the orange looks nice. This is Dutch again from the early 90s. At least you get all the information here, but you don't get that really cool QE2 artwork that we know and love. Next up is 5 Miles Out. This was released in 1982. This is a return to one long side, and then some poppy songs on the other side. So you have Taurus 2, that's fantastic. Again, meanders along for over 25 minutes, I think. Paddy Maloney from the Chieftains, who played on Amadon, Part 2, is back here again. And great guitar work on that. And meanders a little bit in fairness, but it's still quite good. Then you have Family Man, that was a hit for Hall & Oates as well, would you believe that? Orbadoo, it's another long piece, about 13 minutes. I really like that. I like the vocoder on it. Mount Tidai, is it? I can't even know how to pronounce that. And 5 Miles Out, which is a fantastic single. And then you have a bonus track here, Wahlberg to Peak, and 5 Miles Out, the demo version. This too is live in Cologne, 6th of December 1982. You've got songs of QE2 and this album itself. And you've got the DVD, it's the 5.1 surround mix of the album. And there's extras here, 65 special, BBC TV, July 82. Yeah. It's a great album. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the DVD in here. The booklet. Mike's Tubular Bells Telecaster here. That's the studio. Model helicopters and stuff. The 5 Miles Out is about his near-death experience in a twin engine over the Pyrenees, where they got caught in a storm and they thought they'd had it, and miraculously they landed, and Mike came back to Earth and he was able to live to tell the tale and make more music. Now this one isn't too bad, because this is an 80s box anyway, at least, tell by all this. Ta-da! Nice picture disc. I think these came out around 89 or 90. There's one of QE2 as well. And Platinum, I think. Nearly all of them are done like this. Yeah, it's great. These are quite expensive to buy now. I think I paid $2.50 for this, but I saw it online for €25. This is kind of what came out back then. And the deep sound here is very dark. It's hard to read it. And, Orbadoo. That's only part of the lyric. There's more lyrics than that. You can find them online. It's actually quite funny. Hard to hear what he's singing through the vocoder, but I like Orbadoo. It's interesting. It's just a bit quirky. 5 Miles Out is kind of it's a strange album in some ways. And there's a lot in there, a lot more than you think. Crises. This was released in 1983. Mike was 10 years in business when this came out. He was also 30 years of age. And pretty popular album at the time. It's got one long piece, about 20 minutes. Simon Phillips plays drums here. Superb drummer, one of my favourites. It's pretty synth heavy though, but it's, you know, a bit of rock as well for the first 10 minutes of it. Then you got Moonlight Shadow. That was a huge hit. Maggie Riley on vocals. In High Places, that features John Anderson from Yes on vocals. Foreign Affair, it's another track with Maggie Riley. Taurus 3 is a brief instrumental with acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And then Shadow on the Wall. Roger Chapman sings on that. Bonus tracks here, Moonlight Shadow, Shadow on the Wall, unplugged mixes. I think they were just like, you know, stripped back on the mixing desk. Pretty disappointing. Yeah, Mistake, that's an A-side. Maggie Riley again singing, that was a single. Crime of Passion, extended version, that's another single with Barry Palmer on vocals. Then the beautiful Jungle Gardenia, kind of a bluesy instrumental. And then Moonlight Shadow, 12-inch mix, never liked that either, it doesn't seem to work. And then Shadow on the Wall, 12-inch version. What they didn't have on this one, I know there's a box set as well with more stuff on it, but Right of Man was another track from this time, and it's not on this, unfortunately. I'm sure they could have squeezed it in. Then disc 2 is Live at Wembley Arena, 22nd of July 1983, and you've Taurus 1, Taurus 2, Crises, Moonlight Shadow, Shadow on the Wall, Family Man. There's also a video version or a DVD version of that, I think, in the box set. So yeah, there's no 5.1 or anything on this one, unfortunately. Here's Mike with his Gibson SG Junior single P90 pickup for all you guitar spotters. Yeah. So yeah, nice artwork and stuff on this. So yeah, Crises is not a bad album, you know, it's not bad. A bit short as well. The album is only 37 minutes, I think. This is a Dutch pressing, Disky. I think they did Mike's catalogue as well. Licensed, I think they came out in the mid 90s. Keep the original artwork, which is good, and you get a picture disc. They did Heaven's Open as well, and it's got a kind of a picture on the disc. More or less sticks to what the Virgin originally was like. I originally had one with a blue face. They seem to be quite popular. Powder blue. And yeah, so that's Crises. That's what it would have looked like back in the day. Discovery. This was released in 1984. I really like this one. Simon Phillips again, co-producers with Mike. And there's some nice material on this. Mainly songs. To France, everybody knows that one. It was a big single. Poison Arrows, that's sung by Barry Palmer. Crystal Gazing, that's sung by Maggie Riley. Tricks of the Light, that's Barry Palmer and Maggie together. Discovery, that's a pretty heavy track. Barry Palmer. Talk About Your Life, that's Maggie. And then Saved by a Bell, Barry Palmer. Kind of a weak track on the album. And then The Lake, which is my favourite track on this. Lots of Fairlight and stuff on it. Bonus tracks here. To France, that's the extended version. And then In the Pool, that's great. There's some fantastic guitar in that. Bones, that's kind of a Fairlight thing with all kind of chanting, and sounds like something from The Killing Fields, which was a soundtrack Mike did the same year. Afghan, that's another great track. And then Tricks of the Light instrumental. This too, you've got the 1984 suite. 7 tracks, they all kind of blend into each other. Cuts from the album, which is a bit strange. You've got To France, The Lake, The Killing Fields, Etude, which is a beautiful piece, and The Royal Mile. That's actually another version of Afghan. And then Zombies, which is Poison Arrows with a zombie voice, which I think is kind of a bit ridiculous. And then you've got Discovery. This was produced by Mike 2014, 2015. In his house, the Bahamas. Yeah, it's just they're remixed. You know, they sound different. The Lake sounds different. Disc 3 is the DVD of the 1984 suite, which is a bit baffling. It's a pity they didn't do the full album, And then you have music videos to France, Etude, Tricks of the Light. Yeah, so yeah, it's a bit strange, you know. It's good to see it though, you know. I like this album. The 1984 suite is a bit baffling. Yeah. Photographs of Simon Phillips. Recorded in the Swiss Alps, 2,000 meters above sea level, with view of Lake Geneva on sunny days. That's here you go, Discovery. This is what the original CD was like. They had a bigger typeface for Discovery, and the little orange Discovery is gone. It's not bad. It kind of sticks to the original, though, in fairness. I mean, this should be orange by right, but at the same time, yeah. This is a early 90s, I reckon, judging by the barcode. These came in a few different colours. I think there's a black type as well. But this is done a bit better than all the other ones because lyrics are in here. But yeah, that's all you need really. And again, it's nowhere near as cool as the vinyl with all the little photographs. The Killing Fields. This was released in 1984 also. It's a soundtrack for the movie. It's got some orchestrations on it and some music by Mike, mainly very electronic and Fairlight ridden. There's 17 tracks on it. It's not one you listen to that much. Evacuation was kind of it's almost like a kind of a warning. It's quite aggressive and quite menacing. Quite minimal in places like that, but you've got Etude on it, which is beautiful, beautiful. Cover of the Francesco Tarrega track. Yeah. Here you go. There's nothing special here really. That's just the Killing Fields soundtrack. A kind of a once a year play maybe. Next up is The Complete Mike Oldfield. This was released in 1985. It's kind of an anthology or an overview of his work. It's got 2 CDs in there. The first CD has the instrumental section. Arrival, William Tell Overture, Cuckoo Song, In Dulci Jubilo, Portsmouth, Jungle Gardenia, Guilty, Blue Peter, Wahlberg the Peak, Wonderful Land, Etude, Team from the Killing Fields. And then you have the vocal section. Moonlight Shadow, Family Man, Mistake, 5 Miles Out, Climb a Passion to France, Shadow on the Wall. So it rounds things up nicely. Then you have the complex section, which doesn't really work that well because you're only getting excerpts from Amadon, Tubular Bells, Hergest Ridge, Incantations, and the Killing Fields, Evacuation. Then you have the live section, Sheba, Mirage, Platinum, Mount Tiede. So yeah. There's a lot of versions of this out there because I've seen different track listings. I think Pictures in the Dark, which was a single in 1985, was on some of them as well. It's a pity that they didn't add it to the CD. Yeah, that's annoying. The vinyl is better because it has colour photographs in the gatefold of his albums, which they didn't put in this. But there's enough in here for everybody, so it's definitely worth grabbing. This is Islands. This was released in late 1987. I think Mike started working on Islands in 1986. There's a single from 86 called Shine with John Anderson on vocals. I think that was meant to be on Islands. Then he also made a video for the whole album. He was after buying some amazing computer software that allowed you to put images picture on picture and all that kind of stuff. You could do it in your own home. although it was a very, very expensive machine and very complicated to use. But Islands came out. It's okay. It's almost, I'd say there wasn't much. It feels out of place for the time, late 80s. You've got the wind chimes, part 1 and 2. They're both joined together. Part 1 is about 2 minutes. It's just kind of orchestra, but it's really done on synthesizers, and it's quite easy listening, kind of comfortable stuff. And then part 2 is a long track, over 20 minutes, and it's got all different types of rhythms and stuff like that. You can hear tubular bells, motifs coming through there as well. It also has music from Indonesia or something like that. But it's not world music by any means. They're just samples of chanting. Islands itself is sung by Bonnie Tyler. Wouldn't be my favourite track. Andy Mackay from Roxy Music plays the woodwind on that. Thanks Dart, I really like that track. It's a good track. Kevin Ayers, you can hear Mike singing in the chorus as well. North Point, that's a nice track as well. Anita Hegerland sings on that. Magic Touch, it sounds like something from an ad, it's a car ad or something. The time has come. And then When the Night's on Fire. There's nearly a different singer for every song. This one still hasn't been digitally remastered and repackaged in a deluxe edition or anything like that. I thought it would be out by now. Not his most creative period by any means. Magic Touch, vocals by Jim Price, and Time Has Come, vocals by Anita Hegerland. She does the Nights on Fire also. I don't think that track was on the vinyl, correct me if I'm wrong. So Simon Phillips does appear on drums on this album, thankfully. But other than that, it's a low point in the 80s. It's nowhere as good as Discovery or Crises or 5 Miles Out. Next up is Earth Moving. This was Mike's last album of the 80s. It's just got 9 songs on it. To me, I think this is probably one of the lowest points. Definitely the lowest Virgin point. It's not that the music isn't great, it's just that there's a different singer, I think, on every song, and it sounds like all different kinds of people. Holy. It's got Adrian Belew on vocals. That's probably one of the best tracks on it. Hostage. This kind of German talk at the start of it. It sounds like First We Take Manhattan by Jennifer Warnes. Drum machines and stuff as well. It just sounds very, very of its time now for our country. I like that one. That's a good slow one. Innocent. It sounds like Madonna. Then Runaway Son. It sounds like an ad for a Mars bar or something. See the Light. I think he's trying to recapture Discovery. It's kind of heavy and stuff, but it's not great. Earth Moving. I wouldn't be gone on that either. The Blue Night. That has Maggie Riley on vocals, and that's probably one of the best things on the album. Then Nothing But and Bridge to Paradise, they kind of segue into each other. This is totally inessential Mike Oldfield, to be honest. It's definitely a low point. It's just trying too hard to write songs and be commercial, and they're not great. So yeah, I think this one is definitely just for filling up the collection, really. Next up is Amarok. This was released in 1990. This is a kind of return to long instrumentals. In fact, there's only one track on the whole CD. It's about 60 minutes. And it says here, health warning, this record could be hazardous to the health of clot-eared nincompoops. If you suffer from this condition, consult your doctor immediately. This was kind of, I think Virgin wanted him to call this Tubular Bells 2, but he wouldn't do that because he was working on Tubular Bells 2 and he didn't want to give Virgin a shot of it. This one sounds fantastic. really does. It was recorded on a Sony dash recorder. Mike bought. It's a digital tape recorder, and everything's nearly played by hand on it. The problem is though, it's quite long. It's 60 minutes. It's every time I listen to it, I can get it halfway. I loved it when it came out. I thought it was amazing. Some beautiful music on it, but it's just too long. He went back to Tom Newman for this one. A couple of guests here: Clodagh Simmons, Bridget St. John, Janet Brown, Paddy Maloney. There's Margaret Thatcher impersonator near the end, and it's just I don't know. Yeah, it's a pity, but I think he was just really tired of Virgin, so he just crammed everything on one track here. Some people love this album, and like I said, there's some great bits on it, and if you really take the time to listen to it, you'll find some treasure in there, but it's just too long. I think all of this could have fitted into 20 minutes. It could have been, you know, a 20 to 25 minute piece on one side of an album, because it was released on vinyl as well, and the vinyl just breaks the album in two. And then he could have come up with some shorter pieces, which would have been very nice, you know. I don't know, I just think he just got sick of doing songs. He hated the idea of it. Yeah, but anyway, look, that's Amarok. And here we come to Mike's final studio album for Virgin, Heaven's Open. First of all, here you can see that his name is Michael Oldfield. I think he did that just to piss Branson off. This one is, again, it sounds great. I think the tracks are recorded by a band in the studio. It's okay though. There's only 6 tracks in total. 5 of them are songs. Make. It's only alright. And then No Dream, that's the best thing here. Mr. Shame, it's only alright. Give Me Back is kind of a reggae track. And then Heaven's Open itself isn't too bad, but it sounds like anybody else. Then you've got Music from the Balcony. That is a very, very strange cut and paste job. Yeah, Simon Phillips drums again are great on it, but there's a lot of noodling going on. Fairlight or whatever the hell he's using. Yeah, surprisingly, Mike sings on the 5 songs himself here. Sings all the songs. Lead vocalist. It's produced by Tom Newman. And just listened to it again last week. First time in a long time. And I enjoyed it. The sound quality is good, like I said. But, you know, some people think it's his worst album. Simon Phillips drums, Dave Levy bass, Mickey Simmons Hammond piano, Mike Oldfield vocals, guitars, keyboards, Andy Longhurst additional keyboards, Courtney Pine saxophones, bass, clarinet. Yeah, and then you got the Sassy choir, the mixer Harrison Series X, the recorder Sony 3348 dash recorder, the microphone BNTK. Mix is strange too. The guitars just come screaming out at you. It's, you know, obviously to create attention. You know, it was Mike being tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, so there you go. So that's it. That's Mike's Virgin output between 1973 and 1991. There was other Virgin compilations in the meantime, and these overlapped with some Warner Brother albums and Warner compilations. We can take a look at those in another video. So for now, I would say thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care.